Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it may be for you guys. How's it going today? I'm seeing a lot of familiar names in the chat, and it's nice to see you all, and some new ones as well. Good day to everyone. Hi, Gertie. Hello. I hope everyone is doing well. Did you guys have a nice weekend? I had a nice weekend. Good weather in Vancouver. Spent some time at the beach and with some friends and did a lot of house cleaning and stuff like that. Hello, Tatiana. Hi, Kelvin, Jacqueline, Ivan from Russia. Hello, hello, Saima. Awesome. And Milky Way, 1 a.m. in Turkey. Wow, you are up late. Hello, Imad. Welcome. Hi, Gilmara. Nice to see everyone. I'm just going to change the screen over here and we can get started. Here we go. Hi, Pillar. Hello, Sonara. Great. I'm so happy to have you in the chat. Noir, hello. Hello. Hi, nice to see you, Imani. Good. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to the chat. As always, feel free to participate, ask questions, and interact with everyone. Yeah, it's going to be a good hour. We'll be talking from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock Vancouver time. And today, as you can see, we are going to be going over modals and phrases to give advice and to make suggestions. But Merdad, you will watch it perhaps later. Yes, well, 1 a.m. is very late, so I understand. But yeah, last week we did a stream. I did a stream, and we talked more about modals of necessity, okay? And today we're talking more about modals of advice and suggestions, okay? Kelvin, any and some. So usually any is for negative and some is for positive. For example, I don't have any pens, negative, or I have some pens, positive. Also, we usually use any in questions and some in answers. For example, does anybody have any, does anyone have any extra time? Or answer, yes, I have some time. Or negative, I don't have any time. Okay, hopefully that helps. Oh, good, Michaeli. I'm happy you're prepared. Good to take notes. Hello, said. All right. From Istanbul, Salim, welcome. All right, well, I'm excited to talk with you guys, and I suppose we will get started. Let me know if you can't hear me or if the screen is not large enough, anything like that. Okay, I will make it a little better. Okay, so let's get started. Advice and suggestions. We'll go through some of the typical language that we use, and of course, lots of examples coming from you all and myself. So let's get started. Here we have an example dialogue, somebody talking about themselves. Okay, I'd better go home soon. Why? Because I have a lot of homework to do, okay? So had better is a way to give advice to yourself or to other people. It's generally quite strong and usually for very specific situations where there could be negative consequences, okay? So we'll get into that more, but let's get started. Okay, so advice, advice, very, very common in all languages. Many people give advice and take advice, okay? So how about for you guys? Why don't you tell me in the chat, would you consider yourself good at giving advice or bad at giving advice? Nice, Lolly. Good sentence. Yeah, so just a personal question. Would you think that, thinking about your life, are you good at giving advice or bad at giving advice, or both? For me, I think, it depends on the situation, of course. I try to give my best advice to my friends and family, but sometimes you just don't know what to say, really, right? But I will hear from you guys in the chat. Or even you can talk about, do you like giving advice, or do you really dislike giving advice? So Lolly, you say you're bad at giving advice, and Saima, you're good at giving advice. Gilmara, not so good at giving advice. And Jasmine, good, yeah, you can't judge yourself if you give good or bad advice. That's true, it's usually other people who will determine that. Tatiana, you don't like giving advice, yeah. It's a tricky situation, you don't want to give the wrong advice, but if you love and care about somebody, you want to give them some advice, but it's very tricky sometimes. Said I will share the document, but it will be in the chat at the end of the lesson, okay? And you can definitely access it later on when you watch it, okay? Sergey, if you ask your friend for advice, I'm not sure, or maybe you could ask your friend if you give good advice, and they can tell you. Imani, you take your time before giving an advice, so you give good advice. That's really good. That's smart. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, for this question, it's very, very dependent on the context. That depends on the situation, definitely. Well, let's get started where we can give you specific situations, okay? Michaeli, good add to the group there. That's very true. Very honest. Thank you for that. And Pillar, yeah, it depends on the situation and person, for sure. So yes, advice. This is where you are saying something to somebody to try and help them solve some kind of problem, right? So you're giving them counsel. You're counseling them, thinking about your own experience and how you can help them based on your own experience, right? But yes, it can be very, very tricky. But let's go into the language. So should. Hello, Neville. Welcome. Should. This is modal verb. It's used for a lot of different things, but very commonly, of course, for advice, okay? And it's not too strong, not super weak. It's a good word to choose if you are giving advice, okay? This is to say that you believe what you're telling the person to do is the right thing to do, okay? Hello, Nahal, welcome. Let's take a look at our SMART examples. So here, this person is saying, I'm hungry, I should eat something. Pretty basic sentence, right? They are giving themselves advice. They know themselves, and they know that if they don't eat, they might feel sick or get angry. We call this hangry, when you are hungry and angry together, hangry. Next example, you shouldn't go out without a coat. It's pretty cold. Okay, so maybe you were just outside, you know how cold it is, you see your mother or father leaving without a coat. This could be some good advice. Rita, I'm doing well, thank you so much. I'm good, thank you. Now, if we want advice, we can also ask for it using the modal verb should. Okay? Should we invite Jack to the party? You are asking for the advice using should as your question word. Okay. What should I do to improve my performance? Kelvin. That's good. So you're asking me for advice, and I think you should practice, practice, practice. Typical teacher answer. But no, I would say definitely put yourself out there and put yourself in any and every situation where you can practice your speaking in English. If that's the question, I don't know, but that's my advice. Okay, so should is definitely not as strong as must, have to, have got to. Usually when we use must, have to, have got to, you know that this modal is a little bit different. It's more so for what is necessary, what you are obligated to do, what is very, very important. Okay, so the language is a little bit different. If I say to somebody, you should help, I'm telling them that I think it's a good idea. That's what I think they should do. It's the right thing to do. Okay? But if I say to someone, you must help, or you have to help, you've got to help, it doesn't really leave any room for them to make the decision. It's more like telling them what they have to do. So it's a lot stronger. Okay? Now, the same meaning of should is ought to. Okay, and ought to is the only modal verb that is followed by to and not a base verb. Okay, it is, you know, the same thing as should, but it's not so common. Okay, some people do still use this term, but many people have stopped using it, in my opinion. But so you could say James should study harder. Or you could say, James ought to study harder. All right. You should look for a new hobby if you're bored. Or you ought to look for a new hobby if you're bored. Okay. And yes, Calvin, must is definitely more commanding. Definitely. Should is much more indirect. Yeah. Okay. So the use of ought to in negative sentences and question form, not common at all. Okay, very rare, which means not common. Ought to, I wouldn't say it's not so much formal. I think it's more so outdated. Like my grandmother, 94 years old, she probably would still use this term, but it's definitely quite outdated, I would say. And yes, the pronunciation instead of ought to is often oughta. Okay? And Sergey, need, we do use need. We definitely use need. You need to find a new hobby if you're bored. But need is a lot stronger as well. It's just a little bit more polite, I suppose, or less in your face to use should. But yes, we do use need. It has a little more urgency with it, though. So let's look at some examples of the pronunciation. I had a big lunch. I oughta just have a salad for dinner. Okay? Or if you want to get a good seat, we ought to get there early. It sounds like oughta, oughta, oughta. Why I oughta, okay? But yes, it's not so common. I would not worry about using ought to. Do it if you want to, but I would recommend should to sound a little more native, I guess. If you want to sound like a native speaker, I would recommend using should. Salim, no, it's not weird. It's okay. Like if you say we ought to work harder to increase our sales in a business situation, for example, we ought to do what we can to help. It's definitely good English. It's totally fine. This is a little bit of my personal opinion seeping in, saying that should is more common. You know, you might talk to a different English speaker and they say, oh, that's not true. Ought to is totally common. So it really depends who you're talking to. But it's fine to use it, definitely. Okay, any more questions about that, just let me know. Finally, for advice, if we want to go even stronger, we use had better, okay? And often when we are speaking, had is deleted and we just use better. But when you are writing, you definitely need to use had better, okay? It's much stronger. And often it's contracted, so you don't really hear the had. Hi, Boadi, no problem being late. Welcome to the lesson. We are talking about advice right now, giving advice. So yes, so far we've talked about should and ought to. And these two are both the same to give, softer advice to people, okay? Had better is much stronger, okay? Usually we mean that if you don't follow this advice, something bad is going to happen, okay? Negative consequences. Exactly, Gertie. You better stop. So not to, just stop. You had better stop when the traffic light is red. Definitely. That's a great context to use had better. Yeah. Here, another example. You'd better take an umbrella today. It looks like it's going to rain. Okay? So if you go outside of your house and it's completely dark and raining super hard or about to rain super hard, you should definitely go back inside and grab an umbrella, right? Okay, if you look at your cell phone and you realize you have 5% battery and you need your cell phone for the evening, you would probably say to yourself or to your friend, I'd better charge my phone before we go out, okay? Next one, he'd better not spend too much money today. Why? He's going to need some for the weekend, okay? No, Nahal, we don't use it for the past, okay? We'll get into talking about the past, but had better is just for the present or into the future, okay? Ali, you'd better wear formal clothes in your company. Yeah, or at your job, for sure. Oh, is it Neville? I will try to change my speaker and make it a little bit louder. Let me know if that's better. I'm definitely speaking loudly, so hopefully this helps. Let me know if it helps. The speaker is now closer to me. Okay. Seema, good example. You had better take your medicine on time. Yeah. Gilmara, yes, had better and have to are very similar, definitely, but have to has more a meaning of obligation, what you have to do, whereas had better is more about what kind of behavior you should do, like what you should avoid doing or what you need to do in order to avoid a negative consequence, okay? So let's go to the document now. And before we do that, a few more examples. Like I said, had better is only used when we are talking about specific situations. It means that there will be a danger or a problem if the advice is not followed. We often do say what that would be using or else, okay? So let's take a look. It's really cold outside. You should wear a coat. That's okay. Yeah, super, weak, casual. But if you want to be more urgent, you can say the same sentence, but changing the language you use will change the urgency of your advice, okay? It's really cold outside, you better wear a coat, okay? If you hear that, you're more likely to put on a coat probably than if someone tells you you should wear a coat, okay? Because, if you don't wear a coat, you might be really cold if someone is telling you, you better wear a coat. Thank you, Rita. It's a very nice example. Very, very nice. Yeah. Okay, so again, I should hurry. Urgency is low. Okay? It's a good idea for me to hurry, but nothing really bad will happen if I don't. I better hurry. This is more urgent, and if you don't hurry, something bad will happen. You know, for example, I better hurry or else I might lose my job, or something like that. And yes, Lolly, very, very good, good add to the chat. It can be used sort of like a threat, definitely. Especially, you know, maybe not a serious threat, but like, for example, parents to their children. You better do your homework or else you will not have your cell phone for the whole day tomorrow. That's more of a threat, right? Or you had better not park in my parking spot or else I will tell the property manager, okay? So yeah, it can be used sort of like a threat, definitely. Okay, so over to my document. I will share this document at the end of class, so no worries on that. But giving advice, as we said, should or ought to, less common, had better, strong. And also, I wanted to tell you guys, if you haven't learned this before, the second conditional is also used to give advice sometimes, okay? So we use the if I were you expression. If I were you, I would, okay? So this is another friendly way to give advice. Basically, you are putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and you are imagining that you have their problem. What would you do if you had their problem? Okay? Sometimes we only use the would clause to give the advice, using the modal would. For example, I'm really annoyed with my neighbors. They are always loud and partying every weekend. What should I do? Speaker B could say, well, I would try talking to them and see if they could be more respectful. Okay, so sometimes we don't even include this clause, but often we do. If I were you, I would quit. If I were you, I would break his face. Okay, that's a very intense reaction. Okay, so situations and possible advice. Let's go through a few. I will write down some of your ideas on the document. Here's the situation. Tina can't fall asleep at night. What should she do? You can use a variety of the language that we've talked about and try to think of some good sentences for Tina. Nawar, you have to go to work. Yes, you should definitely go to sleep. Sleep is so important. But you can always watch the lesson after. Yeah, you should probably sleep, but your decision. If I were you, I wouldn't give up. Rita, good. If I were you, I wouldn't give up. Yeah. Lolly lolly. So Tina, she should practice yoga. She should practice yoga. That's good. That's good. It could relax her for sure. Raphael, she should get another blanket. Yeah, or get a weighted blanket. Have you guys heard of those? I've heard of them, that if you buy this special blanket that has extra weight on it, it's supposed to help people sleep. Seema, she should start cooking. Pillar, Tina, you should have an apple tea before going to bed. Yeah, Tina, so you're as if you're speaking to her. That's nice. You should have, so A-N, because apple's a vowel sound. You should have an apple tea before, and we'll do the gerund, going to bed. Jacqueline, good. A negative advice. She should not drink too much coffee. She should not drink too much coffee. Salim, I think she should read some interesting stories. Or you could just say something interesting. Salim, nice. Yeah, I think she should read something interesting. Hello, TS. Welcome from Thailand. Join the conversation. We are talking about giving advice. Okay. She should get some reading before going to bed. Raphael, good. You could say she should get some reading in before going to bed. She should get some reading in before going to bed. Awesome. But they're telling me they don't like this. She should get some reading before going to bed. I would change the verb to do. She should do some reading before going to bed. If you say she should get some reading before going to bed, it means that you should get a book or a magazine and bring it to bed with you. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Sultan, Tina, you should watch a movie till sleeping. So I'll just change yours a little bit. Tina, you should watch a movie. You would say until you fall asleep. Ivan, you should watch Smart English until you fall asleep. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Farah, you should get up from your bed and change your mood. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Let's go to our next situation. More advice. You guys are good at giving advice. You didn't think you were, but you are. I think so. If I were Tina, I would not take any caffeine before going to bed. Saima, good sentence. Okay, let's take a look at our next situation. Laura wants to buy a new car, but she doesn't have much money to spend. What should she do? And I could even say, instead of wants, needs. She needs to buy a new car, but she doesn't have much money to spend. What should she do? Rita, good advice for the first situation. That's really good advice. Yeah. Warson, you'd better turn off. So after better, you can go to the base verb. You'd better turn off your phone while you're sleeping. Good. Ivan, she should work harder. Yeah. Laura, so I'll write yours. She should work harder. Good. And Lolly's saying Laura had better. And then right to the base verb after had better expression. It's like a modal verb where you go right to the base verb, okay? Laura had better save up. Yeah, and we can even add some money. Laura had better save up some money. Gertie, she should put away some money. Good. Phrasal verb put away means save. Good choice of vocabulary. Tatiana, she should lend some from her best friend. So, good example, but if you are taking the money, the verb is borrow. If you are giving the thing, it's lend. So she should borrow some more money from her best friend. Okay. Nahal, she had better save money from a few months ago. I'm not sure what you're adding with the past, but you could maybe say she had better start saving money for a few months. Good correction, Gertie. Yeah, put away. Yeah. She should take a taxi instead. She should take, we would say taxis because we're speaking generally. She should take taxis instead. But then she'll have no money. Taxis are expensive. Michaeli, she should save some money before she buys it. Yeah. Raphael, she should get a work that pays more. She should get a job, we would say, that pays more. She should buy a bicycle, Gilmara. Good advice. Kelvin, Laura should get a loan. Good advice. She should get a new bicycle instead of a new car, maybe. Salim, yeah. Jacqueline says Laura should not spend so much money on something that she doesn't need. Good. She shouldn't spend so much, we would say, so much money on something that she doesn't need. Excellent. Okay. Lots of great examples, you guys. I can't even keep up. There are so many. There are so many. So good. So Rita, Laura had better quiet the idea of buying a new car. Yeah. Just remember, after had better, we will use the base verb. So I might add that to the document just so you guys all remember. A lot of people are using to, but we don't need to before the verb. Okay? So let's go back and we're going to talk about the next thing. Jeffrey, she should become a philosopher. Nice. So just one more note about had better, that in spoken English, you often just hear better. A lot of people delete had or even D. Okay? For example, he better call me soon. I'm expecting a call from somebody. He better call me soon. You better not do that. That's more of like a threat. Okay? Tatiana, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Easy way to make some quick money. Yeah. And as well, had better is not common in question form. So you guys are wondering about talking about the past. Well, we can talk about the past when we are really focusing on regret, okay, the emotion regret. We can use should have past participle or should not have past participle. All right, so yeah, when we're going into the past, of course, we can't change things that we have done, but we often talk about wishing that we could change these things, right? And we can't change things that we didn't do, but we often talk about things that we wish we could have, we talk about things we wish we had done in the past, okay? So let's talk about this emotion regret. It's not a good emotion, is it? It's usually an emotion that we don't really like, we don't really enjoy, but we all have these feelings sometimes. And Rita, yeah, we can say negative form, had better not, definitely. You had better not get there late, for example. Okay. All right, so important, the positive form and the negative form, they are totally different, okay? If it's a positive form, it means that you did not do something, but you wish that you had, okay? So I should have done that. This equals that you didn't do it, you made a mistake, For example, missed opportunity, for example. If you use the negative pattern, it's the opposite. You did do something and you wish you could take it back. I shouldn't have done that. This means that you did it, you made a mistake. Okay? And I see some Nandish. I should have been born in Canada. I shouldn't have yelled at Randy. Good job, Nandish. Lolly, I shouldn't have voted for the current president. Emad, she had better buy a Mercedes-Benz. Good advice, strong advice. Okay. So let's take a look at more examples of expressing regret. I'm so hungry. I really should have eaten breakfast this morning. So they did not eat breakfast, okay, because it's the positive form. Talking to somebody else, you shouldn't have said that. Now she's crying. So that means that the person did say something that upset the other person. Next example, this computer is garbage. I really shouldn't have bought it. Did they buy the computer? Yes, they did. Okay. And they regret that decision. So Farah, if you're talking about the past, you would say, I shouldn't have gone out. If you're talking about the present or the future, you could say, I shouldn't go out. Salma, I shouldn't have come to a new country. Okay. Nandish, you should have married Annabella. Good. Nawar, I don't like my major. I should have studied English literature instead. Okay. Well. Gertie, I shouldn't have bought a diesel car because it is so bad for the environment. Okay, good sentence. Raphael, I shouldn't have quit college when I was younger. Yeah, for sure. Good sentence. Kelvin, I should have studied harder. Yeah, I think that's a common phrase of regret. I myself as well. Sultan, I should have studied harder when I was in Canadian college. I had a Sultan in my class a few years ago now, I think. I wonder if it's you. Maybe, maybe not. Tatiana, I shouldn't have taken that job. Okay. Salma, I should have taken my tablets regularly. Good. Nandish, I shouldn't have bought a cheap car. Buadi, I should have come early to the lesson. Nice. Okay, you guys are so good. You have great sentences. As you're listening to me speak, I'm sure you are noticing my pronunciation gets a little bit lazier and lazier with this grammar. Native speakers, they usually pronounce it should've and shouldn't've. So it doesn't really sound exactly how it's written, okay? So should have is often pronounced shoulda or should've. If you want to pronounce shouldn't have, we often reduce it to shouldn't'a or shouldn't've, okay? So it's a little bit strange, but as soon as you know what the grammar is, you can hear it and you can recognize that. So somebody, maybe they have a test in the morning, a surprise test, so they say to themselves, oh, I should have studied last night, or I should have studied last night. This one is like extremely extremely lazy and shortened. This one a little bit less so, just contracted. Okay. Maybe you're outside at a restaurant and you're cold. You say to yourself, oh, I should have brought a sweater. Or I should have brought a sweater. Okay. We often talk about what we should have or shouldn't have done. I mean, it doesn't change the present moment, but it's very common human behavior, I think, to want to openly talk about what you wish you had or had not done. Example 3. I shouldn't have eaten so much food for lunch. Maybe you feel sick now. Number 4, you shouldn't have missed class. Okay, so shouldn't have, shouldn't have, shouldna. Okay. All right, it is possible to describe the past with the ought to have and ought not to have, but really, really more common to use should. So I wouldn't worry too much about using ought to have and ought not to have, okay? All right, back to our document, expressing regret. So remember, should have PP. You did not do something in the past, but you wish you had. And should not have PP. You did something in the past, but you wish you could take it back. Okay. Nandish, good sentence. However, not in the past, in the present. Warson, you should have woken up earlier. That's okay, you're here now. Pillar, I shouldn't have quit my previous job. Farah, I shouldn't have said that to her. Good. Nawar, I shouldn't have passed up that work. It's really valuable. Really good sentence. Salma, yes, Laura should have saved some money for her new car. Definitely. Good. Good. Good, good, good. We are going to do the same thing. So I'll give you a situation and give me some possible phrases of regret. Here's the situation. Tim bought a boat from someone without looking at it first. Now it's giving him a lot of trouble and costing a lot of money in repairs. What are some phrases of regret? Okay, Calvin, I understand if it's late for you. Definitely, sleep is very important. I hope you have a good sleep. Michaeli, the two pronunciations, well, if it's positive, should've or shoulda. If it's negative, shouldna. Shouldn't have. It's really tricky because they're quite similar. Nandish, Tim shouldn't have spent his money. Tim shouldn't have spent his money. Yeah, and you can even add another prepositional phrase on that boat or on the boat. He should have bought a new one. Good, he should have bought a new one. Tatiana, Tim should have looked at it first. Yeah. Allie, he shouldn't have bought it. Good. Yeah, I mean, there are not too many different sentences for this specific specific situation. But yeah, Tim shouldn't have trusted the sale from someone he didn't know. Nawar, he shouldn't have bought that boat. Salma, Tim should have checked it before buying it. Definitely. Tim, he should have been more responsible in his purchase. Yeah. Let's go to the next situation. Lena was invited to a party at a local restaurant, but she said no because she was feeling antisocial. That means not wanting to spend time with other people. Her friends ended up meeting her favorite musician at the restaurant and had the best time of their lives. What could we say about Lena? And a few more examples of the last situation. Ivan, he should have asked first to the owner how it had been working. Yeah, so I'll just add your your example, because it's good, he should have asked, you would want to say how it had been working before buying it. He should have asked, and you can have the owner, how it had been working before buying it. Yeah. Farah, Tim shouldn't have worried the money, he can make more. So Farah, that would be more of a present advice. Tim shouldn't worry about the money because he can make more. Gertie, Tim should have asked. Should have asked. Tim should have asked for advice from someone with experience. That's good. Okay, back to our other example. Lena was invited to this party at a local restaurant. She said no because she was feeling tired, antisocial, but her friends ended up meeting her favorite musician, and they had the greatest time. So what could we say? Sultan, if I were you, I wouldn't have bought it. Exactly. That is the same idea of speaking about the past, using the second conditional to give that advice. That's good. So, Nandish, Lena should have attended the party, for sure. Pillar, she should have gone with her friends and forgot about her mood. Good, because we're talking about past, so she should have gone with her friends and forgotten, we can use another PP, about her mood. Lolly, Lena should have accepted this invitation, definitely. She should have attended that party, for sure. Lena should have come to the party, because we know which party. Yeah. That would be, if you're using the verb come, you would be one of her friends speaking about her, right? But if you're not, you should use the verb gone. Lena should have gone to the party. Imad, Tim should have looked before buying it, definitely. Rita, Lena shouldn't have lost. Yeah, so she shouldn't have, instead of lost, we often say missed out on this opportunity to have fun with her friends. Good. Sergey, Lena should have, well, in this case, I think you are talking about the present, so there's no have, just Lena should find new friends. Jacqueline, Lena should not have disappointed her friends. Lena's a girl, yeah. Tatiana, she shouldn't have stayed home. Acts, good. Good. Okay, lots of examples. Again, difficult to keep up. We have one more section to talk about. Suggestions, okay? So earlier we spoke about advice, which is meant to help a problem situation. Suggestions, on the other hand, are more just ideas, okay? You don't have to follow this advice, or this idea. You can if you want to, right? So advice is more to try and solve some kind of issue, whereas suggestion is just giving an idea. Advice usually comes from experience, whereas suggestion, again, it's just an idea. You don't have to have experience to give a suggestion. We use different language for this. Let's, or why don't we? Okay, we often use these phrases. Let's get a coffee. Let's go shopping. Let's not do anything tonight. I'm tired. Or why don't we go see a movie? Why don't we eat out tonight? Why don't you ask the teacher for help? Why don't I call you when I'm finished? Okay, so very Common ways to make suggestions using let's or why don't we? Okay. Let's stands for let us. Let's. Shall. Okay, we can also use the modal verb shall to make suggestions. It could be with questions or making a suggestion. Okay. If we're using questions, we can say shall I or shall we, but we never say shall you. Okay. So if you see somebody who's having trouble with their bags, you might ask, shall I help you with your bags? Or you're asking what everybody wants to eat. You could say, shall we have spaghetti for dinner? Suggestion. Shall we leave soon? Suggestion. What shall we do this weekend? Often we use this to ask about socializing. What should we do? How should we have fun? What shall we do about the problem? Okay. Shall we dance? Exactly. A very common movie line, I think. Now, the last modal verbs we can use for suggestions are could and should. Okay. Could, to make a suggestion, discuss possibilities. Okay. What if the question is, what shall we do tomorrow? We could say many things. We could say, why don't we go to the beach? Or let's go to the beach. Shall we go to the beach? We could go to the beach, right? So these are all different ways. I would say the questions are a lot, maybe less forward than the statements. Let's go to the beach, or we could go to the beach. Here's another example. What should we do for James's birthday? Why don't we have a surprise party? Okay, it's a question. People can agree with the suggestion or disagree. It's open to both. Or your idea could be, let's have a surprise party. If you say, let's have a surprise party, it's a suggestion, but it's also what you want to do, right? Okay, Pillar, thank you. You're very welcome, and have a good day at work. Hope you have a good shift. Exactly. We could have a surprise party is another option, okay? Lastly, if we're using should with suggestions, it has a much stronger meaning. This means like, this is what I want to do, okay? So it's different. When we are talking about advice, should is soft. When we are making a suggestion, should is strong, okay? Because it's saying, this is what I want to do, kind of thing. What shall we do tomorrow? We could say, oh, we could go to the beach. It's very open. We don't have to if you don't want to. But if I say we should go to the beach, the other person will understand, okay, they want to go to the beach. This is what they want to do. Lolly, what about a party? Yeah, you can definitely make a suggestion using what about. Good one, yeah. Okay, so we'll do some more examples with suggestions. We can use let's, why don't we, why don't you, why don't I, shall I or shall we, could and should, which is strong for suggestions. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. So, I'm seeing a lot of good sentences. Nandish, wow, 4:22 a.m. in India, very early. You should be sleeping. Okay, Nandish, that's a good suggestion. Let's stop smoking. Why don't we stop eating Lay's? Yeah, chips are definitely not so healthy. Mansoor, no big difference. No big difference there. You could say, how about a party? What about a party? Okay, it doesn't really matter which one you say. There's no big difference. Yosenias, oh no, Wi-Fi down. I'm glad it's back up again. Welcome. You're catching the last 5 minutes, but you can always watch it again after. Okay, guys, let's get some suggestions for this situation. Winnie and her friends are bored on a rainy day. What should they do? Nawar, that's a suggestion. Yeah, how about some tea? Okay, Lolly says they should go see a movie. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. Awesome. Strong suggestion. Kelvin, they could go for coffee. They could go for a coffee. Good. Yeah. Farah, why don't... So I'm just changing the pronouns because we're talking about Winnie and her friends. So yeah, why don't they go on holiday? Good. Gertie, let's go to the cinema. Good. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go watch a movie, Ali. That's good. They should watch WWE on TV. That's wrestling, right? They should play outside. Yeah, Ivan, I agree. They should go play outside. Just put on a raincoat, put on some rain boots, good to go. Rita, why don't they play some video games? Exactly. Nahal, why don't they go hang out? Yeah, we just have to have they. Why don't they go hang out? Good, good. They should take a short nap, Jacqueline. Good. They should take a short nap. Cat nap, we say. Cat nap for a short nap. Sultan, yeah, so shall and will, they can both be used for future. Will is definitely more common, definitely more common. For example, I will take a shower after work. Instead of saying, I shall take a shower after work. Shall is really formal in that case. So will is much better when you're speaking about future. Why don't they play checkers? They should enjoy the moment, yeah. Why don't they go to a movie? Okay, good, good. I have another last situation for you. Bill needs to find a nice outfit for his best friend's wedding. Where should he look? Good, Sultan. Awesome. Good, good. I'm glad. Where should Bill find a nice outfit for his best friend's wedding? We can say, why doesn't he look online? Philippe, he should look at the mall, for sure. Noir, they shall enjoy the sight of the rain. Yeah, so again, in this case, it'd be much more common to use will. They will enjoy the sight of the rain. Similar to Sultan's question, where, you know, it's much better in this case to use will just because it's more natural sounding. Gertie, let's go to Zara. Good. They've got a men's section too, I think, yeah. Let's check online. Oh, sorry, Imad. I did not see your question. You asked about either and when to use it. Usually we use either when we give options. Okay, so for example, I'm going to go on vacation in either January or February. Okay, giving options. We can also use it to agree to negative sentences like I can't dance, I can't either. Okay, so either, it's most commonly used for options, either or, and to agree to negative sentences. Okay. So Fazan, why doesn't he look in his closet? Yeah. Outfit. What is outfit? Outfit means your everything that you wear. Your shirt, your pants, your shoes, any accessories, like everything together. Outfit. Nahal, why doesn't he wear his suit? Yeah, assuming that he has a suit. Michaeli, that's a good suggestion. Why doesn't he borrow an outfit from a male friend? Good. Yeah. Why doesn't he look at the closest clothing store, Tatiana? Good. Mahid, he could ask anyone who has experience. He could ask anyone who has experience. Perfect. Yeah. Mansoor, okay, thank you for coming in. Have a great evening. Sleep well. Nawar, he should go to a brand name store, we say. He should go to a brand name store. Tatiana, why doesn't he hire a designer? Good. Awesome. All right, everyone, you've got really great suggestions. They are all down here. As you can see, it's 4 o'clock. Imad, outfit is just talking about like your shirt, your pants, your shoes, everything together. It's clothing, okay? But all of your clothes put together creates an outfit, okay? So matching something like a shirt with specific pants and shoes, okay? All right, that's a good one, Yvonne. He should rent one just for the occasion. Really, really good idea. Cheap idea, or not cheap, but affordable. Okay, I'm going back up. All of this information is on the document. We are wrapping it up. It's 4:03, so yeah, we've come to the end of the lesson today, the stream, talking about giving advice, expressing regret, and making suggestions. I hope you found something useful out of the class today. Thank you so much for giving so many great examples. You guys are all amazing. And yeah, I will put the document in the chat, and I hope to see you all next Tuesday. I will be back here next Tuesday, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock Canadian, Vancouver time. But yeah, thank you guys so much. It's really nice to see so many familiar names. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be here with you guys, and thank you. I hope you all have a great sleep if it's very late where you are, and a great day if it's daytime where you are. So have a great week, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words all the time, such a supportive community, so that really makes me feel good. So thank you so much. Have a good week, you guys. I'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye. Take care.